What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Wednesday. We got an NBA slate full of games for you guys. We got some MLB live betting that we can dabble in as well. And we got to talk about Mr. Stefon Diggs headed to the Houston Texans. Very interesting there. Lots of actual significant impacts from the model. But before we get into that, let's take a look at yesterday, boys. I mean, it's a lot of green check marks. I'm no mathematician, but I like what I've seen here.
Yeah, no, I'm doing, as Mackenzie knows, doing everything as much as I can the same every day. I may or may not have changed my underwear the last couple of days, but I'll let you imagine if that's the case. Whatever helps, whatever works.
Fair. Jake, I know we were so freaking close to that 8-0 sweep for you.
Yeah, Kennesaw Mercer. I think they left to combine 19 guys on base. I think both teams left the bases loaded at least once. So it was still the right play. Can't complain with a 7-1 night though. Indiana State, they won it for us. Today they play in the championship of the NIT. I'm sorry about your Georgia Bulldogs not making it that far, but so you can play Indiana State one more time today. We don't have any value though against Seton Hall, but it's still an opportunity to play them.
Just for good merit. I'm in. All right. Well, as much as I'd love to keep pondering at this beautiful green check going on, we should move on here. Let's talk a little bit about Diggs to Houston here. I know me and Steven have talked about it a lot today. If you look at the technical projections we have for him, you talk about obviously good things across the board. It says improved by half a win, but when you think about that in a 17-game sample size, that's pretty impactful. And we were saying earlier what to compare it to would be, 162 game baseball season. If you took an all-star like an Aaron Judge of sorts, that's basically, putting Aaron Judge on your team is what you're seeing with a half a win improvement for a non-quarterback.
Yeah, that's about as big as it gets for non-quarterbacks. I mean, that's for wide receivers especially, because as great as they can be individually, they're still kind of dependent on the quarterback, which in this case is a great one.
Exactly. And we look at their playoff percent chances too. I mean, going from under 50% to up over 50%, almost 60%. That's pretty impactful as well. And we talk about how this season they're basically replacing, 3 easy games they had last season on their schedule with now the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. The AFC South should be, relatively easy, but, those are 3 impactful games that will, hurt your playoff chances here. So I'd say those are probably the 2 biggest hitters. And then, of course, the championship Super Bowl odds basically nearly double. Still around 2%.
But Jake, we still actually favor the Jaguars at this point in the division slightly. So
I'll take it.
Good for you. There's always the simulation early April divisional championship that you can hang a banner.
Yeah. we are like 4-time offseason champions in the last 10 years.
Exactly. So. Yeah. But I think, I found interesting is like the loss, the upside for Houston is they can almost replicate a Cincinnati-esque, super accurate quarterback who played at Ohio State with 3 awesome wide receivers, Burrow's year 2 with Joe Mixon as your running back kind of thing. And so stage is set where they could go from to have like a 30+ touchdown year from Stroud and still maintain a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah, they're strapping up to look like the 2022 Bengals. Like you said, you got Mixon in the backfield. You got a second-year quarterback coming off a Rookie of the Year award, and again, an Ohio State Buckeye. And you got 3 awesome, dangerous receivers, none of which should really be left alone. So that should be really exciting for them. And we've always been Houston Texans people, okay? That was our big future of the season, over 6.5 wins.
Yeah, we should have been mentioned at the Rookie of the Year ceremony or something. At least you, because and then Buffalo's side, I think everyone's talking about this year being probably the deepest draft in history for wide receiver. And down the stretch when Buffalo needed to rattle off whatever 6 or 7 straight wins just to make the playoffs, 3 of those wins, Diggs had under 30 receiving yards, and he was being used almost as a decoy in a lot of them. So I think they can actually get back to pretty much where they were with Diggs once, assuming they address wide receiver in the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all around feels like a pretty solid trade here. I like it. Both sides, I guess. Means a lot more balls and targets for my boy Dalton Kincaid, though, I'm probably assuming, which is the win in my book. All right, any questions about the draft in general? I guess we'll start to hit the draft a lot more after March Madness, right, guys?
Yeah, I want to see what the Bills move to. Because they already projected they're already heavy favorite to draft a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're probably like minus 150, minus 160 now.
Mhm.
After the Rasheed Rice, I posted that they went from plus 110 to minus 130 to draft a wide receiver for Kansas City. And that's probably similar movement for the Bills. So maybe you could take you over 6.5 wide receivers drafted in the first round. I think that plus 120, especially with with all the news last 2 days. It's looking like there could be a lot of first rounders that wide receivers that sneak in to the end of the first round.
Yeah, there's 3 easily in top 10, and then 2 at the back end, you would think, and then there's at least 4 others or 5 others that are potentials, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys. Even Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
He ran well in the combine. I know he was a fit for Kansas City before, but we'll see.
That would be crazy. He was like a combine darling, I feel like. He really showed out.
A lot of people think Ravens could go wide receiver again as well with not re-signing OBJ. And the Ladd McConkey to Todd Monken is
right about that connection. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll definitely hit this more after March Madness. Let's get into tonight's slate. We'll get into the NBA here. We do have a few MLB games going on. Nothing crazy, really. You got Red Sox, Athletics, bottom of the 6th. Nothing really awesome going on there. Guardians up 5 against the Mariners, bottom of the 3rd. Any possible live betting value for the Mariners to cover the run line? I wonder, is there a live run line? Is that how this works?
I usually
there's live run lines.
Yeah, live everything.
There's live everything. Yeah. I mean, I think we had
5-0. So it's 5-0 heading into the top of the 4th, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's really surprising because they got to George Kirby.
Instead of entering, if you can get Seattle at plus 1162 or better, then we would take it. If you don't have to play more than minus 1127, then we would take Cleveland. But in the live sim, we would have it at 10.5 juiced under. So you can do your shopping. It's really hard to actually enter an accurate live line because they vary so much book to book and they move so much even within the same book. So by the time we enter something here, we often lose the value. So what I decided to do is let's look at it this way and then scan the live board and see if you ever see a number pop up that meets these criteria.
So the live is plus 1,200 for Seattle. So slight value there.
Take it.
Take it. I mean, I say at plus
1/10 of a unit.
Plus 4.5 it's at plus 100.
I mean, they were minus 157 favorites to start. It's still early, still got lots of time, and
So maybe the plus 4.5 at even money if you want to go live there, assuming that they make a comeback.
We have a 4.5 spread right now.
Yeah.
So
it's even money. It's plus 100.
Even money. I would take it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Big Cheesy's
I'll put a little sprinkle on it.
Yep. Even money plus 4.5.
Sprinkle on the Guardians here. Like to see that. Big Cheesy's on the Oakland money line here against the Red Sox. I mean, to each their own. To each their own. Easy. All right.
1-0. They're fighting.
Yeah. We'll keep our eye on these games here. Jake will keep his eye out as we move through these innings. Maybe we'll get some value. We'll bring this back up. But let's head into the association where Josh Hart plays basketball but does nothing for me. So that's really cool. But I'm not worried about it or upset. We'll move on. Let's head to the Lakers, going to Washington here. Let's talk about a player I do love. And it's always good to me, knock on wood. Mr. Austin Reeves.
So I am going to go with Reeves because I see a number, 14.5 points. The line was like minus 105, 106 earlier, but it's obviously costing a little bit more. I love the line that it's significantly under his season average, especially his road average. And he does have a low career number versus Washington, but I'm not going to put much stock in that. They don't play that often. He's coming in because of a 3-6 recent overstretch. But I think that the Wizards, they upset Milwaukee yesterday. Maybe they're oddly competitive. Maybe LeBron on a back-to-back doesn't play as much, though he's supposed to play. So and then just in general, the team total has the Lakers scoring 7.5 higher than normal. So even if you think Reeves, that should lean towards Reeves getting at least his average, if not his above average.
Yeah. So his road, averages 16 on the road, 20 at home.
Rui, I see a question. We have Rui exactly at 14.2. So if you have positive on the over or anything close to it, maybe not worse than minus 105, I think I'd probably like it. Revenge game versus Washington. We didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah. I was looking at Hachimura earlier today when I thought about making a play in wait, who's Jackson Hayes? Sorry, that's so random.
He was the 8th overall pick by New Orleans like 5 years ago. Isn't done much though.
He's a very athletic, long, tall guy that can bust out for massive games once in a while, but you never know when he gets those games. He had a big one last night. I don't think he rarely strings together. He'll get a lot of blocks, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, sorry, that was super sidetracked. Anyway, let's move on to Portland headed to Charlotte. Should be an interesting game. Basically a pick 'em here. Charlotte's slight favorites. Looking at DeAndre Ayton in the spot.
Yeah, so Charlotte's without a lot of play. Both sides are missing key players. So I'm going to go with the one player that I know is going to probably get the ball is Ayton. Model has closer to 27 points and assists. There was no value on his rebound line. So after the All-Star break, they really started building their offense and running it through Ayton, and he was 6-3 over. But then he got hurt. So he got hurt and only scored 9 in a game, missed a few games, came back with 19 and relatively fewer minutes. And then he boosted up to 23 his last game. So he's trending up as he gets ramped back up to his full usage in minutes. Other centers that average 15 to 20 points average over 20 versus Charlotte. So it should be a good matchup for the centers.
Mm-hmm. All right. I like that. We'll move to freaking Detroit, man. I just want 2 wins so badly from them. We need to spend a little time on this game. Let me get a little look at the model here with this situation. Jalen Duren double projected. Don't know what those odds are looking like though. Yep, that's really all I care about when it comes to these.
I'm going to go with this guy who's been delivering just like, every time for me because his line is still priced at basically a season average, 11.5 points. It's a little more expensive, minus 130, but it's been at minus 130 all day, so it doesn't seem to be getting worse. Again, solid home trend, 19 and 15. He enters a 6-1 over. His low in that period, it was still a 10-point game. Jalen Johnson returned, which I thought would hurt his production, but he had 15 the last game with Johnson back. So it looks like his average is high as long as the backup Okongwu, who's been out for a while, continues to be out.
Mm-hmm. Any value on a potential double-double from our guy, Clint Capella?
We are projecting a double-double, so it's all about the price. If it's plus 180,
I'll tell
plus
you the
190.
best price. Yeah.
Jake's got us. While Jake's figuring that out, let's get Brandon Miller here. Some questions on him. I'm sorry, that's going backwards, but
sure.
Back to the other game. I was actually curious too. I was wondering what his 3-point line is. Maybe he's figured it out since we were trying to force 3-point props on him earlier.
I think this needs to be run. I think Derek just posted something that there are even some more injuries here. So I don't know if this is current.
Okay. It says injured. Upgrade probable.
Miles Bridges is out. So this projection of Brandon Miller under 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists is with Bridges in. So if you do like an over on Miller, you could probably grab it before the books adjust to the latest injury update.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds good here. I know, Jake, you got a Clint Capella double-double line?
Yeah, so it's just moved to +1. There's actually some movement on it right now. +115 on ESPN, +110 on Fanatics. But then like some books like BetMGM and Caesars are at -120.
I don't like that. That's too
because
he's not been playing. He's not been playing tons of minutes. He's been productive in his minutes, but 26. He's rarely cracks 30 or even 28, even with playing well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess it's all matchup dependent, but I mean, it's hit in 1, 2, 3, 6 of the last 7, and they're assuming that Duren's going to play, so he's going to get 30 minutes if he's on Duren. So that's the big thing.
That's still too much.
Plus
that's
115
for me.
I mean, 6 out of 7. Plus,
anything plus money for 6 out of 7 is pretty good for plus 115.
Yeah.
All right,
I guess I'm too conservative, huh?
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
Let's move back over to the MLB. I know Jake just reran some of the live sims here. Look at some value, Jake. Any game you were looking at specifically?
I know I was just running the full sims for the night games, but Steven has the other. Do we want to go over your home run
Yes,
long
please.
shots?
Oh, yeah.
So Mackenzie needs to hit like a plus 1,500 bet, and for her trip to the Final Four
Yes.
on Spirit Airlines. But we're thinking Yordan Alvarez. He's due. He it's a good matchup for him indoors at home. Yordan's due for a homer, and he's going against Chris Bassett, and I think he's been really good against Bassett in his career. And we're going to pair that with O'Neal Cruz, and you can get that DK at around plus 1,450, I think it was. So two lefties with mammoth power going against righties. It's a lock. I mean, I don't mind that play.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
the fact that you at least could come up with solid reasoning for me, it gives me a lot more faith than when I was originally just going to put two random home run props together. So I'm feeling better than I was.
what people are looking at here too is these lines are the lines that we would set if we're using our projection to set a line. So it makes it easy for us to identify, based on a simple math and looking at the range of books. And if you see a number that's significantly higher than this one, then it's a good value.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep chugging along. We got a lot more NBA games than I originally thought. Actually, Memphis, Milwaukee, we don't really have much on. You want to talk about
I got one because Dame is ruled out and Patrick Beverly's out, so there's no point guards for Milwaukee. So we have I manually typed that. It's not a double, it's a triple double. I'm gonna go with the Giannis triple double plus 185 on FanDuel before the show. We're projecting basically, and he's averaging nearly a triple double per sim. I'm just sort of assuming a 99% point, 80% rebound, 50% assist type production, which is 40% overall. And it's probably higher than that because, again, offensive rebounds can often lead to putbacks and whatnot. So plus 185 applies 35%. So I like the value there. And our lines for rebounds and assists are actually lower than some of the sportsbooks odds. So if you use the sportsbook's own odds, they probably have it better than a 35% chance.
All right. I'm a little triggered by the triple doubles right now, but I respect the play nonetheless. All right, let's go to OKC headed to Boston. We got some injuries here, don't we?
Yeah, SGA was hopefully back, but he's not. And it looks like Jalen Williams also is out. Interesting. The other Jalen Williams had a big 12 assist game today.
Yeah.
So, and he is part Asian, so I should play with that. But I'm gonna go with Jaylen Brown. I had earlier this morning a 2.5 over 2.5 at significant plus money, but now I'm too lazy to click an alternative line for turnovers. So I'm just gonna go with the adjusted line of over 1.5 at even a kind of a pricey minus 195. I hit two big plus money plays yesterday, so I think I deserve what it should be hopefully a layup. Strong season trend at this number. I think there's the lower number last month, but I think it's a buy low opportunity there. Other shooting guards averaging 2 to 3 have been averaging 3.9 their last 7 games versus OKC, 5-2 over. OKC does lead the league in forced turnovers.
Have we found any consistency with SGA and Jalen Williams both being out with the other OKC props? I don't remember Giddy really going on.
Giddy, we thought, we closed yesterday saying, hey, you might get Giddy if you can get under 30 points, rebounds, and assists. And I saw the line at 35.5, and he didn't come close to it. He had a kind of a stinker. Mm-hmm. So, no, I was watching that game. Chet had some moments. But again, besides that other Jalen Williams getting a lot of assists, you didn't see
StatMuse is good for that. Like you could type in like Jalen Williams or Chet Holmgren without Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this season or within the last 2 seasons. And that's good for that.
Yeah.
So I can check that out.
Oh, the prop I was interested in this one is Gordon Hayward, who was shooting like 36% from threes before with Charlotte, but is shooting over 50% with OKC. I'm wondering what over half a made three was. I didn't see a line posted 45 minutes ago, but if that could be an interesting one, revenge game going back to Boston where things did not happen for him because of his injuries, but he's been shooting threes very well with this team.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good stuff.
So Chet averages 20 without Jalen Williams. Let's see. So, I mean, I don't mind the Chet prop today.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chet, it's your time to shine. Let's move on to Indiana, headed to Brooklyn here, going with Pascal Siakam. Little plus money play. We had some better value here, but the 5 o'clock show does call for a little regression of value.
Yeah, it was with 130, I think. So 3.5 assists. So his assists are down since being traded. He was averaging 4.9 in Toronto, but just down almost a full assist with the Pacers, but it's still 4. So even if you use his 4.0 average with Toronto, you still have plus money on over a number that is a line that's well under his season average. There's some buy low value over his last month where he's only averaging 3.4 assists, but it's still respectable 7 and 8 over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 7 wait, he's hit this over 7 of his 8?
No, 7 and 8. Even in the last month where he's been down 7 over, so just under 50%. So this line is priced based on how he's been going for the last month, but I'm going to bank more on the full year.
Right. All right, good stuff. Let's move on here to Orlando, headed to New Orleans. Ooh, wait, we just saw this game happen, right? And I think New Orleans ended up killing them.
It was it was a couple 10 days ago, and New Orleans did win by a lot at home at Orlando. So maybe Orlando's in a revenge spot. Model leans New Orleans, not a huge value, but I'm going to go with another Mackenzie favorite, Trey Murphy. 1.5 blocks and steals. So this was little under I think I had minus 101, but it's now up to plus 105. So it's gone the other way, which is nice. I'm not sure how I categorize this. Oh, I see. I cracked it. I categorized it an act now, and I shouldn't have because it moved the other way. Bad me. Model has closer to 1.8. Solid home trend, even with and I like it even more with Brandon Ingram out. He's been getting kind of major minutes in this time period, and just in general, when he gets 30 plus more minutes, the point differential of the team going back several seasons is nearly 3. Plus 2.8 versus just 1.3 in the games where he gets fewer minutes. Some of that could be he getting more minutes in blowout wins, but I also think it's because his defensive rating is actually better than Ingram. So he's a great pure 3-point shooter, very solid individual defender, and poised to play the minutes needed to get a lot of steals and blocks. He had 3 steals his last game. He's had a block in 5 straight games prior to that. So he's loading up the stat sheet.
We love to see it. No notes there. Big on the Trey Murphy train. Also, this is a crazy side story. One of my friends down here in Miami, he went to UVA, and he's a Trey Murphy hater because he said he used to always hit on my friend's girlfriend when they were dating. So he's not big on the Trey Murphy train, but I'm like, sorry, dude, it's about the money.
I think that girlfriend probably should have gone with Trey.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
no offense to your friend.
No offense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we move. Let's move on to Toronto, headed to Minnesota. Minnesota, big home favorites here. Scary spot, but one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, it looks like RJ Barrett is out. He delivered really well he had 19 points in the first half yesterday, so I thank him for that, although I'm not sure why he's rolled out for this one. But without him, Toronto already couldn't score and couldn't rebound, and now they're really in trouble. This is a little nervous because, could be a blowout. But Mike Conley, again, I'm just going to go with my tried and true method of liking when the juice isn't so bad, liking a line that is well below the player's season average. Other point guards who average, especially in this specific stat of rebounding where Toronto's getting out rebounded by 15, 20, ridiculous margins. So hopefully, even if he plays the first half, he can get have a 3 rebound quarter as a point guard. Point guards who average just as many 2.5 to 3 rebounds. I was typoing a bunch today. Average. I'm sorry. Take pride in my typing, both my accuracy and speed. Average 3.3 versus Toronto and gone 6 over 6 of the last 7 games.
I like that. I like fading the Toronto. Just basically fading Toronto by taking anybody's rebounds. That's a good spot there. Yeah. Raptors, ton of guys out there shown in the chat. Wow. That's that is a substantial amount. Grady Dick. We've never talked about Grady Dick. Do we ever have any value on him? he play?
We have a ton if this line's still holding. Looks like Derek updated this, and he asked that he might play just 35 minutes. So he doesn't do much in the rebounding stat. He's got decent size, right? Decent height at least.
I gotta take a look.
But
at
he's
that.
been scoring, so
Mm-hmm.
but we love him if you can get 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It's not a necessity. There's no one else playing.
Right. All right. Noted. All right. Let's move on to one more game here before we show the recap screen. Cleveland headed to Phoenix. This should be a good game. Phoenix just 5.5 point home favorites here.
Yeah, Model likes Cleveland. We love Cleveland. It's not just a bias towards Derek's team. Donovan Mitchell's supposed to be back. I'm going to go with Darius Garland, who unfortunately this line was at 14.5 and not a bad price. Now it's at 15.5 is the best price. Model's at 17.5. So something's up with him. It has to be a confidence issue because Derek told me it's not necessarily, they're not worried about his injuries, his health. He had 8 points and 5 points his last 2 games, and he hasn't scored, 16 or more since March 22nd. But I still think he's a great player. I saw a Knicks game end of last year in person, and he was awesome. But so when the line is 3 points under his season average, or 2 points in this case, 2.5 points, I'm gonna take it. He had a big game versus Phoenix on March 11th, which isn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm. All right. I like that. I was looking at Grady Dick here on FanDuel. His points line is 13.5.
Yeah, I think that sounds very good because it looks like you can't really trust his other numbers.
Yeah.
19. We are projecting for a lot of points. 19 points, which would.
What's Gary Trent's number?
Is he even playing? Okay. We have 21 points for Gary Trent.
He's 18.5 at plus money. Maybe I just start parlaying all these Raptors.
Someone has to do something for the Raptors.
Maybe some kind of alt line, some over like 24 points or 25 points for like Grady Dick.
Grady Dick over stuff. 20 points. Yeah, 20 plus points. And Jordan home run.
Yeah.
Perfect.
First class, Mackenzie. First class.
Yeah. First class, Grady Dick. That's perfect. All
there's a private airport right across the street from the office too. Maybe that's
the executive airport.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the that's the other recap screen. We can take
another look at that screen. That's a good one. Yeah. It's
like
seriously, you don't see that a lot in free YouTube shows with this kind of production quality.
Yeah.
Look at all those greens.
I think we should just go on the high note. This is going to be our last show. This is the last thing we want anyone to remember us by. This is what I want my death stone. My
exactly. Exactly. Well, we'll take a look at our nice little NBA slate that we have for today. Tomorrow, I'll give out a what I'm calling the Big House Parlay for March Madness Final Four here with the big boys down low, Edie, Klingon, and DJ Burns. We're going to take a look at all of them. So with that said, hope everyone has a great night. Cashes some bets. Stay tuned on Twitter for what on earth I come up with for tonight's play. We'll see you guys tomorrow.